Think back to the time where something truly wonderful happened in your life. Now, can you remember the feeling that you had at the time? You got that feeling? Now double it. And then, for good measure, double it again. That's exactly the way I feel now that Red Dragon is back from repairs, back from Portland, back in my garage, well, tent. Red Dragon is back. Hi there, welcome back to the Model 3 Man channel. So those of you who've been watching my channel will remember a few episodes back where it was still touch and go whether Red Dragon would be repaired or have to be scrapped and replaced, but eventually it was decided that it was practical and it was affordable just to repair. And there began the long saga of repairs, dealing with insurance companies, working with the repair shop. I think the most frequently asked question in the comment section was, what are they going to do? Who's going to pay? Will Tesla give you a replacement? And a whole lot of similar questions that dealt with what was the process? What is involved in getting your car repaired from a major accident if it's a Tesla? This is the story of this video. Well, I've got some breaking news for you here. Just as I was putting this video together, Tesla publicized the fact that they now have a parts catalog for all of their cars. Obviously, we're looking at the Model 3. I've just been talking about speakers, and we have it. Breaking news. Here are the details about the speakers in the Tesla Model 3, and it's astounding. First of all, there are a total number of 15 individual speakers. 15, you heard it right. Let me list them quickly. We have the subwoofer in the trunk. We have 7 individual 100mm full-range speakers that are found on the rear parcel shelf, the front dashboard, the 2 rear doors. Total of 7 there. We have 2 tweeters that are at eye level that sit in the front at the top of the passenger doors. They are black in color, and those are tweeters. They are active tweeters. There is a passive tweeter up front in the central dashboard area. There are 2 woofers, one in each of the 2 front doors. They provide pretty powerful bass. There are 2 M3 speakers, high definition, that are located in the headliner, and those produce more mid-range type sounds. They're listed very clearly as only for premium. And let me mention the ones that have that designation. They are the 2 speakers that sit high up in the headliner, up on the A pillar. Then, in addition to that, there are the 25mm tweeters that sit at the top of the front doors. Those are only for the premium version. For the rest of them, it doesn't look as though they will be removed in the base model car. It looks like all of the others are there. So there it is, 15 individual speakers and the amplifier, which sits in the trunk. That's amazing. No wonder the sound in the Model 3 is considered to be the best among almost any vehicle out there. You heard it here first on the Model 3 Man channel. Now, to make things easier, I've created a timeline that lists all of the major events that occurred along the way of the repair process. Essentially, it lists all of the events that happen to either delay or to speed up the process. And I think if you have a Tesla and you've ever worried about what will happen if you have to get major repairs done, this video should answer those questions. In my case, there were multiple parts. And so it was something like 42 individual components had to be requested from Tesla. And you can understand that they're not going to be supplied in a day. Before we get going, I just wanted to mention that in this video, we're going to be doing a giveaway. Now, I want to thank Ken Wilson from AutoWorks Exclusive. Ken, remember, is the fellow that did the wrap on my car, and he's donated a beautiful red jacket that you see right here. In order to stand a chance of winning, it's pretty simple. Be a subscriber and leave a comment in the comment section below. So if you're not a subscriber, just click the subscribe button below, just leave a comment, and within 7 days of the upload of this video, I will be choosing a winner, and I'll then post the name up here. Disclaimer, It's a wonderful jacket. It has all kind of secret hidden pockets. It even has a detachable hood. But it is a men's jacket, and it is in the size medium. So if you're a medium or a medium large, this will fit you. Now, if you look at the timeline, you'll notice that in the month of August, there were several events that took place. Obviously, that was the time of the accident. August the 12th, day 3 of a 14-day USA road trip to show off the Tesla to friends and family. We were rear-ended on the Oregon coastline, and that brought the holiday to an abrupt halt. We left the next day to go back to Vancouver. The car only arrived at the repair shop the day following that. So there was a 2-day delay, which was neither here nor there. Now, because Tesla was really not involved in any direct way, let me just mention what their role was, because some of you commented, did Tesla pay for it? Why? Why would they do that? It wasn't their fault that the accident happened. Did Tesla give me a new car? No, they didn't. Did Tesla give me a loaner? It wasn't their role to do that. What Tesla did, and did exceedingly well, was number one, on the day of the accident, at the scene of the accident, 2 minutes after the impact, Tesla Roadside Assistance called us and said, we've seen that you've had a tremendous collision, and how can we help? Are you okay? What can we do for you? And through the rest of that day and the weeks that followed, we were in constant contact with the customer support, and they were nothing but helpful and courteous all the way. Tesla did exactly what could have been expected all the way through the repair process. So that leaves us now to talk about the other parties. The guy that hit me, but since I never met him after that and we didn't communicate, let's talk about his insurance company, which was Geico. Then let's talk about my insurance company, ICBC, which is the insurance company of British Columbia. Then, of course, we have to talk about the repair center, which was Precision Body and Paint. Most of the communications and the dealings I had were either with John from Geico, Ryan from ICBC, or Teresa and Cindy from Precision Body and Paint. They were fantastic. They communicated every step of the way. They sent me photographs. They kept me up to date. I only had to call on 1 or 2 occasions to try and see what was happening. So let's just get the insurance companies out of the way first. Let me put it this way. It really, really helps to have one party involved in the collision who is clearly the transgressor, clearly the party at fault. And so it was not that long into the process before ICBC notified me that Geico had accepted full liability for the accident. At that point, of course, it became certain that they would be covering the cost of repairs. Not having to fight insurance companies about who's going to pay and how much they're going to pay really made the whole process a lot more pleasant. Obviously, one of the other things that if this happened to you, you'd have to think about are the additional expenses and the additional costs that you are put to as a result of the accident. And these additional costs are ones that you're going to have to claim from the insurance company directly. So let me list a few of them here. So number one, lost deposits on hotel bookings. There was the cost of a rental vehicle from Portland back to Vancouver. There was the cost of the gasoline. Then there was a rental to get back to Portland. There were a few other costs. We stayed in the sumptuous luxury of the Beaverton Motel 6. So that again was an unexpected additional cost we would not have incurred, but which we had to pay for. Then, of course, the additional one, Precision Body and Paint had to remove some of the PPF, the paint protection film, that was applied on the rocker panels, that was applied on the surrounds of the rear wheels, and of course the ceramic coating was gone because these were new components. So I now have to take the car to Ken. That's an extra expense, and that could only be claimed after the initial repairs claim because it hasn't happened yet. The biggest claim item has to be a claim for the diminished value that the car has suffered through being in such a major accident. Imagine that I had the car for 2 months and it was brand new, no accident, and I decided to sell it. I get X number of dollars for that 2-month-old car. Now, change scenario a little. I want to sell the car after 2 months, but unfortunately it's been in a major rear-end collision that has cost $16,000 to repair. So now I'm going to get X dollars minus that depreciated value, that diminished value. How much is that? Well, that's the subject of negotiations. Of course, Geico wants some kind of evidentiary proof that the car did suffer diminished value and the approximate amount, and then we will arrive at a settlement after that. So that's just to give you some idea that just the cost of the direct repairs only forms part of your recovery efforts to get back the value that you've lost and the expenses that you've been put to. All of that is ongoing. Geico have been extremely honorable. I've been speaking with John. John has been helpful. John has given me the series of steps that I have to carry out. He's asked me for information when necessary, and he will be involved in the final settlement. Be sure I will report back on that in my next video. So let's get back to that timeline. The 14th was the day that the towing company took the car, brought it across to the repair center, and then began a series of delays. Now, I really need to make this clear. The delays had already been spelled out to me. Precision Body and Paint is a Tesla approved or Tesla authorized repair center. And here's what that means. It means that they've paid money to have their staff trained. They've paid money to buy in equipment, diagnostic equipment, repair equipment. They pay money on an ongoing basis to maintain their status. Therefore, people who have had accidents in their Teslas are bringing cars to a limited number of repair centers. And that means I was in line. I was probably third or fourth in line. So it was a full 2 weeks before the repair center had done the teardown. They had dismantled, disassembled, and diagnosed, and spent the time building up that estimate. Because as you can imagine, when you've got individual components that need replacing, you've got part numbers, you've got to look them up, check on pricing. You can't just do a thumbsuck on an estimate. So it was the 29th of August when they provided me with that estimate. I then sent it back to them because I asked them to remove the paint protection film. I would do the PPF reapplication here in Vancouver. So on the 30th, I got the final estimate. It was passed on to all the insurance companies, and in a few days, because insurance companies take some time to give their approval, the Precision Body and Paint were able to begin the process. And the beginning of the process, which happened on September the 7th, was the ordering of all of the components, a final order placed with Tesla for the 42 plus individual parts. So look at the timeline, there it is, 7th of September. That was a pretty long wait. The accident happened on the 12th of August. It was the 7th of September, almost a month later, and the ordering was only taking place then. Now I've got to say that one of the things I really did appreciate was Teresa and Cindy. And both of them were exceptionally good at giving me a detailed update, particularly sending me photographs. Just a word on that estimate. I went through it, and obviously many of the part names and descriptions meant very little to me. One thing, though, that was very, very clear was that the time and the labor was always going to be more expensive than the actual parts themselves. And it turned out, in fact, although I had a total of $15,000, $16,000 repair bill, it was a 2-to-1 ratio of labor to parts. So in any repair that you'll get done, you'll discover that the labor far exceeds just the bare cost of the parts themselves. And by the way, the cost of towing, which is up there in the $900 range, was rolled into the repair center's bill so that it was all paid for as part of the claim. Now, in that awful lead-up period, life had to go on. In the almost month after the crash and before the ordering of the parts, every day I was wondering, how long is it going to take? When are they going to contact me? You just have to learn to chill. There's no way that these things happen quickly. If you get yourself all bent out of shape about it, you're the only person that's going to be hurt. So effectively, I had to fill my life with all the other things that I enjoyed doing, and of course one of those was Thanksgiving and the Thanksgiving dinner and just times of getting together with family as well. So once the order had been placed, it was approximately 12 days later that the first of the parts began arriving, coming into the body shop. So it was a period of the 19th of September through to the 4th of October. So during the course of that period, parts began trickling in. Unfortunately, the main rear panel only got there on the 4th of October. But at that point, and when they had all of the components, the rebuild began. And so, yeah, obviously, I was receiving photographs and information. The minute that you hear that parts have arrived, your heart fills with hope. Now, I can promise you that doesn't mean the car is about ready. It means that the next phase of the process has begun, but it's a good feeling because the only thing that stands between you and getting your car back is how quickly and how efficiently and how well they assemble those parts, paint the parts, put everything together, calibrate the computer and the sensors and the cameras, and then the car comes back to you. So from that date, October the 5th, that was when the rebuild began. Oh yes, there was one casualty in the repair process, and that was to the lower right-hand side reflector. So what they've done, they reordered the part. In fact, they've just shipped it up to me. It'll arrive in a day or two, and I can just pop it into the recess. So October the 9th was the day that Red Dragon went into the paint shop, and here you can see the results of that job. Here's all the preparation, taping everything up, and then here's the appearance of the paint once they've finished that. Obviously, when you just think of painting, your mind goes to every fear you've ever had. Will the color match? Will it be the same combination of paint layers leading to the same appearance and the same level of gloss? Will I be able to see the difference between the newly painted section and the original body paint? And of course, there's no way of knowing until you see the car. Of course, once the paint had dried and hardened, the car then went back into the paint shop for buffing, and that was on the 16th of October. Previous to that, I'd been in constant contact with Cindy and Teresa, trying to find out, when can I get the car? She gave us 2 dates. Teresa said that it's possible that it could be the 19th of October or the 26th. Of course, I was hoping for the 19th, and they were working toward the 19th. Now, on that same day, the 16th of October, technicians from Tesla actually came to the body shop, and they began working on software updates and system checks, diagnostics, and at that time, they also turned on my mobile access. So once again, after the Tesla technicians had arrived and done some stuff, I got access to my car. Went into the mobile app, signed in, and there it was. Unfortunately, there was also a notification that said, software update failed. And upon calling, I discovered that what had happened was they were having some difficulties trying to update the software, and they decided instead to take my car from the body shop into the Tesla service center and to work in it there, where they had better access to tools and to diagnostics and things like that. And then later that day, I was very encouraged when I saw another notification pop up. Software update successful, or words to that effect. And at that point, I saw that I was on version 9, which is very cool. I know so many of you are still waiting for version 9. Thanks to the repair, they pushed it through. So now, having access to my car through the mobile app, I was also able to watch and see that on the next morning, Thursday the 18th, I could actually see the car being driven from the Tesla service center all the way across to the body shop. I then just screen captured the progress, sped it up, and you can see here the car moving from the Tesla center right into the parking lot of the body and paint shop. That was amazing. Just being able to snoop in on what the car was doing and see it moving and see it traveling. Really good. Really felt good. It made me realize just how much I'd missed having that constant contact with Red Dragon. This really is pathetic, isn't it? A grown man so attached to his car, and yet you really don't think of it as a car. It's another member of your family, and it is so good to be part of this new revolution. At that point, Cindy gave me a call. She said, Tesla has returned the car. All of the diagnostics have checked out. We will be ready to return it to you tomorrow morning, Friday the 19th. I traveled up to Portland that night. I finished lecturing at 4:30 in the afternoon, jumped into the car. I was already leaving by 5. I traveled just beyond Tacoma and stayed in a motel, the Western Inn, and it was a very comfortable room, but a very Spartan breakfast. Early that morning, and you can see how foggy it was, I jumped into the car and traveled the last 2.5 hours to get to the body shop, which I did by 9 a.m. Turned out, of course, it was an hour too early, and they still had final finishing touches, and they'd been washing and cleaning, hand washing the car, cleaning it out, vacuuming, getting everything ready. And then, finally at 10 o'clock, after I'd signed the papers, they brought Red Dragon out to show me and to hand over to me. I'd almost forgotten what she looks like. This is beautiful. It's looking absolutely amazing. So let's go around to the tail end because that's where the damage happened. Everything looks to be well aligned, but I don't care about panel gaps anyway. Let's just come down a little. The only casualty is the lower reflector, which is completely missing, and that's because in the repair process they accidentally broke it, but they've ordered a new one. They'll ship it up to me, and it's just a matter of popping it in. So there she is. I'm going to take it for the first test drive, make sure everything's working properly, and then I'll be back to sign the paperwork. And that was just a special moment. When you haven't had the car for 2 months, you really look forward to just seeing it again. And I went round to the tail end and I had a look at where the repairs were done, and I honestly, truly could not see a thing. In fact, if anything, the trunk now closes more easily. I used to have to slam it quite hard. Now I can bring it down to about 5 inches and just tap it and it closes. So it's kind of even better than when I had it before. Of course, after that I then had to spend a few last moments thanking people, thanking the staff, particularly thanking Teresa and Cindy for all of the communication that they'd undertaken on my behalf. I did get a chance as well just to put 2 questions to Cindy. I asked about how they managed to get the Tesla approved status, and then I asked about the differences in repairing a Tesla compared to any regular car repair.
We've been Tesla certified since the beginning of 2012 when the Model S first came out.
Right.
And we had to go through a series of training at the factory. Our technicians we had probably 5 different technicians go down to the factory for 2-week training sessions each time. And that was ongoing for several years. And then there was a lot of tools and equipment, different training on the same models pertaining to maybe mechanical and electrical as opposed to structural repairs. Different training sessions, and also for the different models as they came out. And then we also had to purchase the required tools and equipment, which was a very substantial
Do they help with that? No, you guys have to foot the bill.
Yeah, and that's one reason why they were having a hard time finding shops to be on the program because
Right.
most shops can't afford
There was a cost
the
to it.
investment
Yeah.
of the tools and equipment, and the training investment, it adds up as well, not only in having
So all of that is to your cost.
all of it, and
Yeah,
including
yeah.
lost production while our techs
Okay.
are gone, as well as the
Yeah.
travel and everything else. So, and the tool and equipment purchases and requirements are ongoing as well.
Yeah.
So they're always having new tools as the new models come out that we have to purchase. Number one, it is an all aluminum car, where most cars are
yeah.
steel. There are some manufacturers that have one or two models that are all aluminum, some of the Porsches and Audis. But more and more in the manufacturers are going more towards aluminum all the time.
Yeah. And is that harder to work on?
It's harder to work on. It takes a different set of tools, a different set of work experience
Yes.
to work
Yeah.
on it, to
Yeah.
know
Yeah.
how the metal moves as opposed to steel.
Steel.
What its limits are as opposed to steel.
And what about the delay in spare parts?
Well, that's always been a big problem.
Yeah.
You know, the biggest delay in getting these repairs done is just waiting for
Is
parts.
waiting for parts. Yeah.
So Tesla's always said that they're working on the problem over the last 7 going on 8 years. There has been times where it seems to get better for maybe a short time and then it goes back. I mean, some parts are harder to get than others. Interior parts
Yeah.
are always harder. But, you know, they run out of parts quite often, and
Yeah.
then they have to wait to get more parts, and that means everybody waits.
Well, look, I can tell you from the experience of others on Facebook, I was very pleasantly surprised that it only took as long as it did. It's been
Yeah, I think
two
your
months,
parts only took like
3 weeks.
3 weeks,
Yeah. The round trip
Which is
it's
good.
a total of 2 months, which in the general experience is very rapid for a Tesla. So
And the more parts there are for a repair, the longer
Yeah.
it's going to take to get the part.
right.
So, You know, it depends on the, front end collisions tend to have more parts
Yes.
than rear
So I'm
end.
glad I got hit in the back.
Yeah. So there's
Well,
that.
you've done a fantastic job. I mean, I looked at it, I parked at Avis and I just looked at it. It looks beautiful. The detail is good, the
Good,
paintwork
good.
is good. I couldn't see any discrepancy. So I'm a happy customer.
Yeah, that's very good. I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah. All I wanted to do was get Red Dragon back to Vancouver. I was very, very thankful for the many rest areas. Because here's the thing about not having autopilot. If you're driving and you suddenly feel drowsy, there is no autopilot to look out for you. At that point, I really kind of regretted not having purchased autopilot. So I stopped a lot at the rest areas, and I used that opportunity just to look through at the version 9 feature set. Here are some of them. The view of your surrounding vehicles and surrounding objects like bicycles and people and trucks and cars is very greatly improved. And the view now includes the 2 side cameras and perhaps the rear camera that pick up cars approaching you from behind in your blind spot. So that was a great improvement. Then there's the addition of the app box. When you pop it up, you get a few things. You get the energy app, which is new. It gives you a live view of how much energy you're consuming. As you go up hills, as you go down, as you regenerate power, you'll see that little graph, and you can set it to a number of different ranges. The second thing that we find in that box there is calendar, true calendar integration. And what I put into my phone calendar pops up on the screen, as you can see here. Number 3, there's rear view camera. There is quaint little icon that looks like an Alexander Graham Bell original handset phone that they use as the new phone icon. And then, of course, the great addition, for some, is a web browser. I tried a few websites. I tried my school website, Advanced Digital Training, ADT School. I tried Adobe. Now, there's a heavy website. Adobe, Creative Cloud, and all of the associated graphics and web utilities, web apps that they're using, it came up. Another great feature is that I can look up a destination on my phone, and then I can just send that address to the Tesla app, and it will send it to the car, and when I get there it just asks me to confirm my destination, tap on it, and it takes me right to it. Version 9 is cool. So finally I passed a number of places along the way, going past Seattle. The traffic in the afternoon, it was not good. Everything slowed right down, and as I listened to the music, something appeared to be missing, and it hit me. The subwoofer. The subwoofer was not contributing that lovely low-end bass to the sound. So eventually I got to Burlington and got to the supercharger stations. That was my final stop before heading to Vancouver. I played some music with good bass, and I reached in, I rested my hand against the subwoofer speaker, and there was nothing. Absolutely nothing. It does have an appointment at the Tesla service center, and Precision Body and Paint have said that if there's any cost, they will foot the bill. It will be fixed, and it will be the greatest audio system that comes standard in a car. I'm here in Burlington. I'm at the Tesla supercharging station. Today is a very special day. It's the day I got Red Dragon back again. I spent the morning down in Portland. The return took place with no payment on my part. I did not have to pay, what do you call it? There were no payments to make. The guilty party's insurance company had taken full responsibility, so I was able just to drive in and drive out. So it's now approximately 6:26. The traffic has been unbelievable, but I'm sitting in a Model 3. Who cares about the traffic? Just to get back again into the routine of driving a Model 3 after having spent 2 months driving my good, trusty, dependable Leaf. To get back into this, I'm over the moon. And by the way, I almost got wiped out again. An idiot in an SUV came right across into my lane, did not see me, did not slow down. The car beeped 4 times, braked automatically, pulled me back. I cannot tell you how terrifying that was. After 2 months of waiting for the repairs, I almost get wiped out a second time. I'm almost beginning to think the cosmos is trying to tell me something, and maybe I should stay off the roads. But this is a beautiful car. The job they did on the back, you cannot tell that it's not the original. Now, I'm going to look at it carefully tomorrow. I'm going to do a little bit of detailed analysis, but it looks fantastic. It is so well done, and the guys took such care with it that I have to give a big shout out. So Portland, Precision Body and Paint, Cindy, Teresa, you guys, I cannot thank you enough. And of course, there were all the guys that did the repairs, but you can pass on my thanks to them. Wonderful additions to version 9. I'll give a fuller report once I've had the chance to experiment, but I cannot tell you how good this is. I'm back in Red Dragon again. This car is the best thing. No, getting married to Janine was the best thing that ever happened to me. This car was second best. Oh, wait. Having my 2 daughters was the second best thing. Getting Red Dragon was the third best thing in my life. Wonders if he left anyone else out. I think it's about it. Anyway, now that Red Dragon's back, there are going to be a lot more videos. The next one coming up is the 10 best reasons to get a Tesla Model 3. If you've not subscribed, please click the subscribe button. The red jacket will only go to someone who is a subscriber and to someone who leaves a comment below. Looking forward to being able to give it away to somebody. Looking forward to upcoming videos. And once again, thank you for supporting my channel. Every day I get people writing in and saying, I just found you guys and really enjoy what you do. I want to tell you that those compliments, they really do inspire me. So don't stop the comments, and if you've got a criticism, put that down there as well. And so until next time, thanks, keep driving safely, and watch your back.